Despite all the bad news that's been around MicroStrategy recently, and despite where Bitcoin is heading, a lot of people are still amazed by Michael Saylor's move. He just purchased another 660 Bitcoin at an average price of 37,865. If we look at the charts right now, Bitcoin is at 37,029.52, and the total market cap for all cryptocurrencies is over 1.7 trillion. So we're in a better position than we were, let's say, 2-3 weeks ago, but it's still not a great position to be in. Michael Saylor, well, he is the CEO and founder of MicroStrategy, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, a technology corporation that's invested pretty heavily in Bitcoin. To be very exact, he purchased around 660 Bitcoins recently, but the total held is at $3.78 billion worth of Bitcoin at around $30,200 each. So most recently, they purchased around $25 million worth with that 660. And in a recent interview with CNBC, Saylor had said that in his career, he has never seen anything as compelling and as unstoppable as Bitcoin. It's essentially a software company that pretty much plows all of its disposable cash straight into Bitcoin. So no matter what happens with their actual value, even though MicroStrategy stock has been diving a little bit recently, they're still going to be able to make up their losses through their investments. Now, it is an emotional investment. It is a seasonal investment. Not everybody's going to believe in Bitcoin all the time. So there's going to be moments when people think MicroStrategy's CEO is absolutely crazy. Michael Saylor, said that the balance sheet strategy of MicroStrategy is to buy and hold Bitcoin, while the operating strategy is to sell enterprise software. We will continue to buy, says the CFO, despite Bitcoin's recent slump. Well, of course, you're buying the dip. MicroStrategy shows no signs of slowing its current Bitcoin purchases. Tesla, and formerly Square, now Block, are two other significant corporations that also hold a fair amount of Bitcoin. Saylor's company purchased exactly $2.04 billion worth of Bitcoin in the first 9 months of 2021, and that was an uptick from what they did in 2020. Fong Li, the chief financial officer, has said that the company will continue to buy Bitcoin in 2022, though he doesn't know if they're going to surpass the 2021 tally. They have no intention of selling their holdings at the moment, as their strategy is to buy and simply hold. And maybe they might sell in the future when Bitcoin is at 100,000 or even above, but they could have easily sold when Bitcoin was almost at $70,000, and they didn't. They continued to buy. So the company is also thinking about purchasing Bitcoin-backed bonds. Now, last week, MicroStrategy was chastised by the SEC. It's basically for how it's disclosing its Bitcoin holdings. It was a big no-no, whatever. According to the Wall Street Journal, MicroStrategy has been stripping out the fluctuation in Bitcoin prices and hence included Bitcoin impairment losses in measures not defined by the U.S. Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, or GAAP. Now, who cares about that? Really, it's about a long-term strategy for MicroStrategy. There we go. See what I did there? So thanks so much for watching today's video. Michael Saylor is always bullish on Bitcoin, regardless of wherever Bitcoin's actually heading. And for him, it's just another dip. If that gives you a little bit of inspiration, if that gives you a little bit of confidence, great. If not, there's some other stuff that's been happening recently in the news as well. Morgan Stanley is bullish on Bitcoin. They have responded to the sudden decline of Bitcoin with some bullish sentiment. Also, David Marcus, Meta's DM co-creator, if you're not familiar, again, Meta rebranded Facebook essentially, has recently said that he's a fan of Bitcoin and its censorship resistance essentially. So analysts back at Morgan Stanley, in a research note titled State of the Bear Market, downplayed Bitcoin's 50% correction from its all-time high. The bank's head of cryptocurrency research, Sheena Shah, pointed out that estimating the fair value of cryptocurrencies is pretty difficult because they trade speculatively and were supported by the large availability of USD and central bank liquidity. Analysts looked through the past 15 cycles of Bitcoin with bear markets and said that what has happened, the downtick most recently, is in line with past performance And their recommendation is actually that investors should be patient, that this is most likely going to be all right as long as you understand you're in the middle of a wider risk market correction. Leverage in the market is absolutely necessary right now for a bullish trend to begin, as central bank liquidity has been removed from the equation. So the only thing you can really do if you're not too familiar with Bitcoin is potentially listen to Morgan Stanley. I'm just kidding, but it does help that you have people who a couple of years before said it's a scam, it's terrible, and now they're getting on board. It's giving you some bullish sentiment. So that's it for today. Thanks. Have a great rest of your day. See you guys as always tomorrow.